Welcome to Adding Dollars. In this video, I'll be going over my weekly update on the highest volatility stocks, so stocks that are paying the highest premiums for covered calls and cash secured puts. Before jumping into this week's scan, if you're new to cash secured puts or covered calls, make sure to check out the videos in the description. Now let's go ahead and jump into this week's high volatility scan. As always, I'm on the scan tab in the Thinkorswim platform, and I'm going to be scanning the S&P 500, so let me go ahead and switch to that and then click scan. And here we have a list of all of the stocks in the S&P 500 sorted by highest implied volatility at the top and then decreasing from there. At the top of the list, it looks like we have Super Microcomputer Inc., one we haven't seen on this list before, currently trading at $971. Pretty expensive and has an implied volatility of about 93%. I believe this is in the same chip space as Nvidia, so it's definitely been seeing a huge amount of growth recently. But let's go ahead and jump over to the trade tab and see what kind of premiums we could get on this stock. Looking at the option chain, I'm going to be looking at the 7 days out option, so options expiring next Friday. Let's just let this option chain load really quick. As always, I have this custom column on the far right of my option chain that shows percentage premium. It basically calculates the profit percentage for selling a cash secured put, and it also gives you an estimate on covered calls in this column here. If you're interested in adding this to your own trading platform, check out the link in the description where I have instructions on how to add this to your own platform. Now let's go ahead and start by looking at cash secured puts. Here we can see that you would need to sell the $880 cash secured put to make about 1%. So that would mean about $850 in premium. And if you did end up getting assigned, because this is an expensive stock, you would need 880 times 100 because each option contract is 100 shares, or $88,000 if you ended up getting assigned to be able to buy 100 shares of the stock. On the covered call side, it would currently cost you $97,161 in order to buy 100 shares, but then you could go ahead and sell the 975 call options and collect about $4,190 in 7 days, or about 4.38%. Definitely a very expensive stock to trade. Jumping back to the scan tab, let's take a look at another stock. We haven't looked at Moderna in a long time, currently trading at about $104 with an implied volatility of about 52.84%. Let's go ahead and jump back to the trade tab. Here we have the 7 days options for Moderna. Again, looking at this column, looks like you can make about 1% profit selling the 99 cash secured puts. This would give you a premium of about $94 per option contract that you sell, or 1%. And if you did end up getting assigned, so in this case, getting assigned means if the stock ends up closing below your cash secured put strike price at expiration, you would most likely get assigned and have to buy 100 shares. In this case, it would cost you $9,900 in order to be able to buy those 100 shares of the stock if you got assigned. On the covered call side, it would currently cost you $10,409 in order to buy 100 shares, but then you could sell the 105 call options and collect about $248 in premium in 7 days, or about 2.41%. Jumping back to the scan tab, let's look at one more, maybe one that we haven't looked at before. Let's look at ON Semiconductor. Not one that we've looked at before, currently trading at about $75 with an implied volatility of about 44%. Jumping back to the option chain, here we can see that you would need to sell the 73 cash secured puts in order to make about 1%, or in this case 0.9%. That means you would collect about $64, and the risk here is if you did end up getting assigned, you would need $7,300 in order to be able to buy 100 shares of the stock. On the covered call side, it would currently cost you $7,578 in order to buy 100 shares, but then you could sell the 76 call option and collect about $167, or about 2.22% in 7 days. Jumping back to the scan tab, feel free to pause the video and take a look at the full list of highest implied volatility stocks for the S&P 500. And as always, if you have any questions about cash secured puts or covered calls, feel free to leave those down below. And if you want to help support the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.